Shattering Myths, the program devoted to those of you who have come to recognize, or at least who are open to the realization, that every one of the world's religious, political, economic, and military institutions are corrupt. They are counterproductive. I am Yahowah. Our number, if you'd like to join us anytime over the next 2 hours, toll-free, 877-300-7645. Over the weekend, Scott, our producer and co-host here of Shattering Myths, sent me an article on Pope Francis Speaks about the pooper's comments while he was in South or Central America. Interesting. You know, what's so fascinating here is the hypocrisy of the whole thing. The Roman Catholic Church established fascism. They were the principal embodiment, the principal promoter of fascism throughout Europe. And they imposed fascism, lords over serfs, for what, about 1,500 years? It was right around 400 CE with Theodosius, when Rome imposed the lord-serf conditions orchestrated by the Roman Catholic Church that would endure enslaving most Europeans to the church and to the lords that they empowered for centuries upon centuries. So what is it that gives this man the right to speak about any economic issue when the single most perverted, the single most reprehensible, the single most depressing economic institution in human history is the Roman Catholic Church? So, frankly, if I were he, I would simply be running for cover, but I would never open my mouth regarding any economic issue. Now, what's interesting, of course, is that the Pope was having grown up in Argentina and playing politics in Argentina, was part of that constant fight between communism, socialism on one side, and fascism on the other. The result's always the same. You know, there's a small percentage of people that are empowered and enriched, and everybody else is impoverished. The only difference in fascism and communism is what the titles are and the names of the various positions who are enriched and empowered versus the other alternative. But they're all massively controlled, draconian, top-down, imposed economies that simply lower everyone and deprive people of their rights. So, whether it's his socialism that is screaming, he's a communist, because he was in opposition to, although a very quiet opposition to the fascists who went in and out of power in Argentina. He was never an outspoken critic of them. But whether it's Argentine fascism, the Roman Catholic fascism, or it's his bleeding heart communism, you know, he is not in a position to yap, and he's way too stupid about most things to talk economics. What was your take on the poopers and his comments, Scott?
Well, I sent it to you for his quote about Mother Nature and how the economy destroyed the promotion of. Well, I'll read the quote. Human beings and nature must not be at the service of money. Let us say no to an economy of exclusion and inequality where money rules rather than service. That economy kills. That economy excludes. That economy destroys Mother Earth. And that was Mother Earth.
Yes, so, yes. You know, when you go to Mother Earth and you're a religious leader, you're going right back to your pagan roots. And Roman Catholicism is based entirely on the Babylonian religion, where Mother Earth was a god. And so, you know, you're right back to where it began. I mean, every pagan religion turned the earth into a goddess. You know, she was the mother goddess of life, and so, oh my goodness, Mother Earth.
Yeah, and
wow, just scream out your pagan roots.
And it's the economy that destroys it.
So it's not pollution, no, because I guess, you know, well, I've been in a lot of ghettos, and they're the most polluted places that I've ever seen. They're the most disgusting places I've ever seen. And so it's not poor people that pollute. No, it's not poor people that just throw their garbage out in the street. No, I guess it's money that pollutes, according to this Pope. And you know, when you go to work today, Scott, what I want you to do is I don't want you to go to work because you're trying to earn a living. I don't want you to be responsible and trade your work, your capabilities for the monetary system that is used to reward such things. No, I want you to serve today. If your only goal is to serve, you are not interested in money. I want you to tell the crew at GCN.
So should I punch out then?
Yeah, I guess you should punch out because you're not there in service of money. No, you're just there to serve. And really, everybody in the world, from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Why should we be corrupted by this concept of money? Why should we trade money for food and for the things that of life? Let's simply have each person work. No, let's just take money out of the equation. From now on, you just show up and your goal is to serve. And when you go into the market, you say, you know, I don't have any money because money pollutes Mother Earth. Kills Mother Earth, as a matter of fact. So I just going to come here and take what I need. And then I want you to go to the restaurant and you just order whatever you need and don't pay for it, because that would be in pursuit of money and be killing Mother Earth. So let's just change. And if you feel like, you know, oh boy, you should provide some form of service, you just go out and provide a service, and then whatever you need. When you pull into the gas station, you just see how it works. If when you tell them that you have a need and they shouldn't be, you know, corrupted by money. And see if there is any economy beyond barter, and barter monetarizes really every commodity, so that you come up with a value for your corn and somebody else has got a value for their wheat, and you know, if you have corn in one wheat, if you have wheat in one corn, you make a trade. But apart from bartering, which, you know, was the prominent economy going back, what, 5,000 years ago? I mean, a monetarized economy has been dominant because it's just so much more convenient to have everything monetarized, so that you don't go to the store looking for vegetables with a load full of coal. You know, if you're a coal miner, you know, the store probably doesn't want your coal.
I would like your potatoes. I will trade you this lamb.
Yeah, I will trade you this lamb. Now, you know, that was the monetary system and the economic system going back 5,000 years ago. But it isn't today, and it isn't the monetary system because it's really stupid. I mean, it's the least effective way for people to work together. So what is this idiot talking about? You shouldn't take money out of the equation, just serve. And who is to determine who gets what? So when the Catholic says, hey, I took money out of the equation, my Pope, my fearless leader, my enlightened one, my spokesperson for God told me that I shouldn't be in the service of money. I should just have a servant's heart. So, you know, so I don't starve to death, what food are you going to give me?
Tell you what, anybody that feels bad about the money that they make, feel free to send it to me.
Okay.
I'll gladly take it.
Yeah. So we shouldn't be, and we must not. Human beings and nature. I mean, who's in nature? Must not. So I want you to tell me what aspect of nature is in the service of money. So human beings and nature. I'm looking at a bird out my window. Is that bird in the service of money?
I was just thinking about. I just had a funny thought. It'd be like the guy that's about to get eaten by wolves or something. He pulls out his wallet and he's like,
Hey, I know you shouldn't be. Well, you shouldn't be in the service of money, you know. So the money shouldn't influence them at all. What is the tree in service of money? Is there any part of nature that's in service of money now? Well, of course not. What is this idiot talking about? Let's say no to an economy of exclusion and inequality. So we want to have an economy of inclusion and equality. Are you aware of any economy in the history of humankind that has been inclusive and equal? Now, I'm going to tell you every economy is inclusive, because every party that's part of that economy is always part of the economy. So to say that an economy needs to be inclusive is to say that I've got no concept of how economics work. Every economy in the world is inclusive. Now, inequality. Would that mean, Scott, that you should make the same amount for this show if we're going to be equal that I'm making? Would you like that? Probably not. You're underpaid, but I'm not paid. So that would not work, would it?
It would not work at all.
No. So
I'd be dedicating myself to service then, right?
Right. So should we're going to have equality. Should the guy that assembles jet engines for GE make the same as the guy that engineers those engines? Which skill set is more valuable?
The guy that's designing them.
Okay, and then how about the guy that's managing all of the engineers that's designing them? Should he be paid the same as the common engineer?
No, he's got more on his plate. He's doing more.
What about the guys that are actually managing the company as a whole?
They're managing more. They're doing more.
So if we go into a restaurant and you've got a server that's a really crappy server, that's really got an attitude, that just prefers to smoke outside all day, and you've got a person who is really, really got a great attitude and working great, should they equalize their tips at the end of the day?
Not at all.
Welcome back to Shattering Myths. So, if we're all supposed to be equal economically, why would I ever want to work? If you, Scott, are the worker, and we're supposed to get paid the same, and by the way, we're not getting paid with a monetary unit, so we're going to get paid with who knows what, I guess good wishes. But if you're going to work, why should I work? Here's
the thing. If we're going to both be paid, do you think they're going to pay me, they're going to pay you my wage, or are they going to pay me your wage?
Yeah, so back in the day when I was working 6 days a week, 70, 80 hours a week, risking my own capital.
Well, we take your wage then.
Traveling around the world trying to promote and build a business, taking all of the risk associated with it, hiring sometimes hundreds and then thousands of people, making payroll, sometimes from my own pocket because there was no money, signing my house mortgaging my house to borrow money to keep the company alive during the lean times. So for all of that, I should have made the same amount that our receptionist made.
According to this, yeah.
So why would anyone ever do that?
You won't.
Why would anyone start a business? Why would anyone build a business? Why would anybody do anything other than just say, if we're all equal, you pay me the same, although we're done away with money now, so I don't know how we're even what unit we're using to equalize. Oh. And by the way, now, let me just see if I get this straight. Did the Roman Catholic Church tell its parishioners to stop making donations?
No.
No, did they say, we don't want to be in the service of money, so you don't send us any more money?
Definitely not.
How long would the Roman Catholic Church last if its faithful stopped making donations?
Not very long.
Not very long. So it's okay for you to send them money, but you can't.
But you don't. You don't have money yourself.
So that economy destroys Mother Earth. By the way, Mother and Earth were both capitalized here. That's
that's right.
And that economy, the economy where we're in service of money rather than just service. That economy kills. That economy excludes. I would like you to tell me, where is somebody excluded from our economy? Do you have somebody that you've run into that is excluded from the economy, that cannot spend the dollars? Is there somebody that can't use the restaurant, that can't use the supermarket, that can't purchase that you have been excluded? You can't. Your dollars are not welcome. Is there someplace in the world that happens?
I can't think of any place. I can't think of any place.
Nor I. I mean, come on. All right, then he says he denounced new forms of colonialism. Which was the most colonial institution in human history in terms of, in fact, even Yahowah. Yahowah answers this. So Yahowah speaks of the beast that grows out of the fall of the Roman Empire and says that it treads upon the entire world. Can you name any colonial institution other than the Roman Catholic Church that can be legitimately accused of treading upon the entire world, colonializing the entire world unto itself?
Besides the Catholic Church?
Besides the Catholic Church.
Well, probably the United States.
Well, the United States has tried, but the United States doesn't have large swaths of land and control. For example, throughout South America, the Roman Catholic Church essentially controls South America.
Yeah, like I said, besides the Catholic Church, I mean, the Catholic Church is everywhere.
Didn't the Roman Catholic Church come to the New World, the Americas, Central America and South America, North Central and South America? Didn't it come for one direct reason and a second indirect reason? Wasn't the primary reason gold and the secondary reason to impose Roman Catholicism on the native peoples?
Yeah, well, he apologizes for it.
So isn't he admitting that why would a colonialist and a robber baron like the Roman Catholic Church have any rights to tell people how they should manage themselves in this regard, in these regards? Well, we'll take on his next quote, which is the new colonialism. Oh, there's a new colonialism that takes on many faces. It's different than that Roman Catholic colonialism. At times it appears as the anonymous influence of mammon, corporations, loan agencies, and free trade treaties. Oh my God, let's go after the bankers and corporations. Ooh, they're evil. We'll be back. New colonialism. The new we don't want to talk about that old colonialism because we were it. But that new colonialism, even when, the Europeans decided that they would colonialize the Americas, it was mostly Roman Catholics, but almost exclusively Christians. They were the colonialists. And then when the colonialists decided that they would colonialize Asia, that was also Christians. It's the influence of Roman Catholicism throughout Central and South America is almost ubiquitous. It's almost exclusive because of Roman Catholic colonialism. So now we want to be, since we are it, now this pooper, he wants to speak out against the new colonialism, because heaven forbid they would undermine what the old colonialism achieved. Now, who is the first item, with the first grievous offender of the new face of colonialism? Who is the grievous and hostile entity, Scott?
The corporations.
Corporations, that's his first thing. corporations are the new colonialism. So, Scott, do you have a cell phone?
I do.
Do you enjoy it?
I do.
Are there things that you have benefited your life and like your ability to stay in touch with loved ones?
Very much so.
And friends.
Yeah, very much.
And when you've got a question, you can, hello, phone. What's the answer?
What's the answer? Many
right.
questions.
And several times in the last week or so with me moving, we've communicated via text message effectively. And without it, we'd have been really in a pickle, wouldn't we?
Quick, easy. And my cell phone is an Apple device.
Okay.
And when I look for things on the internet, I use Google.
Yeah, and so you're on both sides of the equation here. I have an Android device, and I also use Google. I find it extraordinarily beneficial to have one of those. Would I have one of those if it wasn't for a corporation, or would you?
No.
No. Okay. I'm using right now a computer as the switchboard for this show, and I have a news feed up that I'm also looking on a computer. And I no longer type my documents. When I'm doing this program, I'm using a Word program, and my Word program is showing me these quotes from the pooper. So would I have this computer to do any of those things, the monitor of the PC, without a corporation?
No.
No. Okay. This morning I drove my wife to the airport. She's going out for a few days to go visit friends. Would it be possible to have the car without corporations?
No.
How about the gas in the car? And with the car, how far would the car go without gas?
It went.
Okay, let's say we went to an electric car. Is there corporations that produce electricity?
Well, first off, I want to know how you figured out how to make an electric car.
Yeah.
And if you have that kind of ability, then you'd probably be all right. But you wouldn't have it.
So you tell me what we would have. I'm going to have lunch later. In fact, I had breakfast this morning. I'm going to have lunch later today. I went to a market to pick up the food. Was that market a corporation? So if corporations are evil, why don't you tell me what we would have? For example, what part of the health care that we enjoy? I've broken my collarbone. I went to a doctor. My wife has a defective pancreas, and she is kept alive by her doctor and the medications that he prescribes. Would we have that without corporations?
No, you wouldn't.
What would we have without? We'd have the church. We'd have the Roman ridiculous church without corporations. Would we all be serving the Roman Catholic Church? And since we don't want to have money, we'd all be serving the Roman Catholic Church for free.
There's another place that spews the same bullcrap about how corporations are evil. It's coming from our own president. He spews the same thing.
Because he's also a communist. But without corporations, you got nothing left. I wanted to ask you a question.
Like we talked in the break.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Communist Russia.
Right.
Communist China.
Right.
How many inventions did they come up with? How many things did they come up with?
Next to none. In fact, let me tell you, when I was growing up and I didn't eat my peas, I was told you need to eat those peas because they're starving children in...
For you it was China. For me it was Africa.
China.
Yeah, Africa,
and because the Chinese went away from communism economically to free enterprise, now if you say there's starving children in China, you make an idiot of yourself because there aren't. Now there's more starving children in the United States because we went from free enterprise to communism.
We're people... most of your people are going to do the bare minimum of what they need to do. If you don't gain anything from doing extra, most people aren't going to do it.
No.
They just aren't.
No, if there's no reward for hard work and no reward for taking risk and putting capital to risk, if there's no reward for those things, I bought an airplane the other day. If everybody got an airplane, why would I work?
Well, it's the same thing with schooling. If everybody passes, why do you start working hard?
Right.
Why do you work harder?
Shouldn't we have grade equality? Shouldn't everybody get the same grade?
And if you do that, your smart people are going to be like, whatever.
I got an idea. Why do we have religious equality? Let's just make everybody the same religion, and since it would be inappropriate to have salvation inequality, everyone is saved in our new religion. So we're going to have a new religion, and it's one religion for the entire world, because we wouldn't want religious inequality, and we wouldn't want different benefits. So, for example, if the pooper and his cardinals and bishops and priests are paid, and the nuns are paid, shouldn't we all be paid?
Well, yeah.
And what would be, and if we're going to have total equality of this new religion, everybody has to be saved. So what would the purpose of the religion be if everyone is saved?
Well, there's no purpose to the religion.
So, what in the world is this idiot talking about? That the new colonialism is a corporation. I would like to ask you, Scott, what corporation has gone out and colonialized another country? Did I miss something that Microsoft was doing behind the scenes? Has Apple, rather than making innovative devices, has Apple actually been secretly colonializing the world?
You've never been to Google Stonia?
I haven't been to Google Stonia, no. Nor have I been to Apple Nokia. I mean, no. What is this idiot talking about? Oh, and the next is loan agencies. Loan agencies.
Yeah.
Now, in this regard, he sounds just like Muhammad. You know, Muhammad had a conniption fit on loans because when he went to Yathrib, he didn't want to work. It's just like, you know, the Pope didn't want anybody to have to work either. And so he didn't want to work, and so the only way that the first Muslims survived was on loans from the Jewish community. And the Jews says, yeah, we'll loan you money, but the nature of money is that if you're going to take a risk and loan some of your money to somebody else, you have to get a return on it. If you don't charge interest, there's a zero incentive to loan money. No one would ever loan anybody any money, which means that you couldn't buy a house until you could pay for it for cash. You couldn't buy a... That would mean 99% of homes wouldn't sell. 99% of cars wouldn't be purchased.
I've had to borrow money. Well, I've taken out loans, but I've also had to borrow money from my dad, and he doesn't even give me money without having me. Oh, I'll give you the money so you can, get your down payment for your car or whatever.
Right.
But you're gonna have to pay me back so much interest on it.
Right.
Even my own father does that.
Right. Yeah. When I was first starting in business, my father said, back in the time, I think we were paying 15 to 17% interest for home loans, and so I got a home loan from my bank. It happened to be Security Pacific Bank, and I was paying them 15 or 16%. And my father said, hey, what if half of that loan for the house you borrow from me rather than the bank? But he was the same rate. The 15, whatever it was, 15 to 17%. It was just that he couldn't get that right from loaning his money elsewhere. No, I mean, the nature of money is there's interest. And if there's no interest associated with money, there's no investment. There is no way that anybody is going to loan anybody anything.
People work too hard for their money to just expect them to give it away.
So a loan agency. By the way, why did they say banks instead of loan agency? One of the largest banks in the world?
Is it the Roman Catholic Church?
The Vatican. Yeah, the Vatican's bank is one of the largest banks in the world. So, but you see, the Roman Catholic Church doesn't loan anybody any money.
They sure know how to collect it.
They keep it all for their little old selves, I guess. Loan agencies. So, without banks, would you tell me how people would buy homes? How would they buy cars? Do you ever use a credit card or a debit card?
Yeah.
In fact, without a credit card or a debit card, would you be excluded from much of the economy? There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't take cash anymore. Like, I want to go get gas for my car. Most of the time, there is no one at the service station. I don't know why they call them a service station anymore.
Honestly, if they didn't have banks, I think the world would be a much worse place. If you knew that everybody had to keep their money somewhere in their house, how many people are going to go around and just be like, well, that guy's got money, I'm going to go to his house?
You know, we used to have to go to the market, you have to take a check. Now, the check requires a bank. But if you had to carry cash, and everything now went to cash, wouldn't you just make yourself subject to being robbed? But just the things of life. So what are we going to do? Your monthly fee for your cell phone comes due. What are you going to do? You're going to put cash in the envelope? And is every envelope that has anybody that's a service provider, your gas, your electricity, your phone, your television, your water, your garbage pickup, are we just going to put cash in all of those envelopes? And they're going to say, well, you know, your envelope, it didn't have cash in it when it arrived. Well, it did when it left. Well, it didn't when it got here. You know, you put the wrong amount of cash in. It says who?
The old classic, the checks in the mail.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine how we would function today without credit cards? Harvard checks. So the new colonialism. The old colonialism was the Roman Catholic Church and Christianity. But now the new colonialism is corporations and loan agencies. He then goes on to say free trade treaties. So a free trade treaty is colonialism. If you impose a duty, that's not colonialism. So if he wants economic equality, but he wants inequality on duties.
I want economic equality, but you got to pay for it.
Right. And I guess the imposition of duties enables governments to impose control. He's all for that kind of control. And the only thing that a duty does is make things more expensive. And that's really all it does. So why would he be opposed to free trade? For example, Mexico is much higher percentage Roman Catholic than is the United States. So when America signed the NAFTA accords, where duties went away, the duties were higher of goods going into Mexico than coming out of Mexico, and the labor cost is cheaper in Mexico than it is in the United States. So the beneficiary was Roman Catholic Mexico. So why would he be opposed to free trade agreements? I don't get it. What's wrong with this buffoon? Now, the next thing he says is the other thing that's the new colonialism is the imposition of measures of austerity. So, you know, the new world order of austerity is that it's not that you're causing anyone to live in an austere manner. It's not that you are depriving somebody of the ability to access electricity or gas or water or housing or anything else. No, the new austerity is that you've been indulged, that government has mortgaged the future of its children and burdened its children with the burden of the greed of its adults. And it has given people things that they did not earn, they did not work for, they did not deserve. It gives them free health care. It gives them free retirement benefits. It gives them free food. It gives them housing. And so governments have been doing this throughout the world, particularly in Europe and the United States. So austerity would be that if government gives you less free food and it gives you less free housing and it gives you less free money and it gives you less free retirement, then that's mean. Wow. Well, that's quite a vision. So what we ought to do here is we ought to destroy the currency. We ought to all be like Greece. We ought to destroy the value of our currency. We ought to ultimately enslave ourselves to other countries and give away our freedoms, which Greece has finally done. To get its loans, it gave away its sovereignty. So we ought to do that so that we can continue to be indulged. What do you think about the pooper, Glenn?
Well, this Pope is, he's not crazy. He's not mad. He's just desperately wicked. I mean, the man's never. I mean, if you're going to sign up as a head or chief representative of some sort of social, political, or business entity, you should at least make some halting effort to represent what the organization supposedly represents. And this guy has never. I mean, I don't agree with Catholicism, but I mean, just in terms of group integrity, I mean, this guy has never met a Catholic doctrine he isn't willing to throw under the bus.
Yeah, it's true that he has thrown Catholic doctrine under the bus, which doesn't bother me at all because Catholic doctrine is ridiculous and stupid.
Blatantly hypocritical.
Yeah, right, correct.
But this obviously, like, whether you're dealing with communism or fascism, the bottom line is you're still dealing with totalitarian oligarchy. And this whole money is obviously going to exist. Look at the history of money. It doesn't matter whether you're using wampum or early fix or somebody's going to invent some form of money. The bigger question is how do we attain? There's the question of moderation, benevolence, and malevolence. I mean, some corporations conduct themselves fairly ethically, and others are just absolutely mercenary profiteer, windfall profits type of things.
So that if a corporation wishes to be mercurial, then in a free enterprise society, you do less business with the mercurial corporation and you reward the one that provides a much better value. But you mentioned wampum. Wampum was a currency. It was a shell, I think, that was used by the Native Americans. Yeah.
Whalebone.
We'll be back.